So what I was saying earlier is that I know for me, I believe in coaching, right? Because I am a coach, and I believe in therapy. I'm not a therapist, but I just believe that the mental health aspect of our lives is something that we should really take very seriously. And all too often, especially in our community, we want to either shy away from it or we want to do it, but we don't want other people to know that we're doing it. There's this thing
Right.
of, if I go to therapy or if I, have a coach, people are going to think that I'm crazy. But it's just the opposite. Having a great coach and having a great therapist in your life will keep us. I know it has kept me from going crazy. And the reason why I want to be a testimony for you is
Mm,
because ever since you became my life coach and we've had sessions together, my life has changed for the better.
wow. That is so awesome. And to God be the glory. But also, I'm glad and I'm honored that you would choose me to do that. But I'm also proud of you, Debbie, because you made it your intention to overcome any stigma. Sometimes we get to the point where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we realize that
Mhm.
we need some support. And we can be teacher and student, and you
Yes,
help
we
so many
can.
people, and you realize that, wait a minute, I need to be poured into. And I think that is something that people need to understand, that it doesn't matter our profile, our status, our position. All of us have, we have to shake our family tree sometimes and say, why am I
Mhm.
acting like this? Why do I believe this? What have I bought into? Where do I feel stuck? And I like what you
Mhm.
said, Debbie, that especially in our community, we have to overcome this spiritual bypassing. And that means that, we think if we just memorize a scripture, or we just go and sit in our favorite pew and sing our favorite songs, that we're going to be fine. And we're holistic people. We have to deal with the mental, the emotional, the family, the history, uh, the myths, the strongholds, the
Yes.
secrets. And when you shake your family tree and you realize, wait a minute, this didn't start with me. And wait a minute, I'm not even broken. I have just been, what is the word I like to say? Um, I'm just in need of transformation, transforming
Yes.
my heart,
Yes.
transforming my thinking, and having the courage to do what I need to do. Because I think, Debbie, having faith is trusting in God, but having courage is trusting ourselves, that we're going to protect ourselves, that we're going to invest in ourselves, right?
And you know what? And that's the thing. I love when you said that. Having faith is trusting God.
Yeah,
Having
yeah,
courage is trusting ourselves.
yeah.
I think all too often, um, we in our community, in our culture, we don't learn to trust ourselves. We put everything either in the church or in someone else. We don't learn that there are tools that we can put in place so
Mm-hmm.
we can start trusting our own selves. And
Right.
that's where I had gotten to a place where after I had my clients and after I was pouring into women and after I was speaking and doing a lot of things for other women, I felt like I ran into a wall. And what you said today on a post, and I reshared it on my page, is that
Mm.
sometimes we're not stuck. We're not necessarily stuck. We're not necessarily lonely. Sometimes we just
Mhm.
need a reboot.
Yeah.
And
And we
right?
also have to admit that we're tired.
Exactly. Exactly.
I talk to so many women, and they're like, "Oh, I do this and I do that and I do this and I took care of this, and my parents weren't emotionally available, so I took care of my siblings and I did this, and then I got married, and I'm taking care of my kids." And I'm saying, I'm just getting out of breath just hearing your timeline. And it's
Exactly.
not that you're stuck; you have created a survival strategy,
Hmm.
and it's no longer working. That's what
And
I find a
that's
lot
where
of
I
women are
was.
doing. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
exactly where I was before I started my coaching sessions with you.
Mm.
I had been used to living in survival mode,
Yes.
and that
Yes.
was okay because it was working for me at the time. But when I became to a place, because what happens is we become healed, right? But then we do kind of get stuck
Mhm.
because it's like, okay, I need a deeper healing. I need a higher healing. I
I
need
gotta
to
go
go
to another
deep.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go to another level. And that's what happened with me. It's not that I wasn't doing the personal development work, it's just that it was time for me to go to another level.
Wow.
And that's what I faced when I started working with you. You helped me face the things that were in my way, the blockages that were in my way, things that I was going through with my family or in my relationship or on my
Mhm.
job, that if I didn't heal those areas of my life, I couldn't continue to give to my clients. So what I decided to do was take a break. After my last client, I decided to take a break,
Mm.
take no more clients, and I became the client. You became my coach. I did my sessions with you. They're a little different what I do with you that I do with my clients, of course, because we coach differently.
Mhm.
But the bottom line is, had I not taken a hiatus, had I not said, okay, something is not wrong, right?
Time
Something is
out.
that's right. I need a timeout. Not necessarily something was wrong, but I
Yeah.
needed a timeout because what was working, the survival mode, I didn't have to be in survival mode anymore. I had done enough work to
Mhm.
move from survival mode into thriving. But once I got to the end of survival mode, I needed someone in place to say, okay, this is how you thrive. This is how you thrive as Coach Debbie. Because, see, I have been already learning how to survive as Debbie, but
Mhm.
now I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm an author. So that means that I'm responsible now. God has put a mantle on me, and I'm responsible now for other people. So I needed to go to someone that was going to say to me, okay, let me show you how to shake off the residual so that you can finally thrive in who you are. And that's what I received from you, Jewel.
Wow, that is so I pray that somebody is hearing this that is realizing, you know how when you're in the car and that little light comes on, you're like, oh shoot.
Yes,
And you keep ignoring it and you keep ignoring it. And then you wonder why you got to get a new transmission or new brakes or new tires because you kept ignoring that inner voice that was saying something's not right. We're out of
right.
balance. We're losing our joy. And you're getting exhausted and you're not loving yourself and you're not trusting yourself, or you're doing what I call, the spiritual bypass. Let me just ignore it. Let me just numb myself with some food or some new shoes or Netflix or some drink, and let me not think about, or let me just go to sleep. Let me just go to
Mm-hmm.
sleep. Or
Mm-hmm.
let me just stay busy helping everybody else,
Yes.
until you crash
Yes.
and burn. And so I was so proud of you that you stepped up and you said, you know what? I need to talk. I need to work through some things. I need to sort out some things. And you made it work because you were vulnerable. And a lot of people think that's a sign of weakness. I think that's a sign of strength that
Mm.
you're open and I like the word that you were coachable,
Mm.
because a lot of people come to me and I'm sure they come to you too. And I can tell in the early stages if somebody's coachable, if they're just
Yes.
blaming everybody, if
Yes.
they are not willing to do the assignments that I give, if they're not willing to be consistent, then I know they're not coachable. When we
Yes.
look in the mirror and we say, wait a minute, how did I contribute to this? How did I what script did I buy into that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
lovable, I'm not smart, I'm not capable. And a lot of people like you, Debbie, break strongholds in family. Sometimes you could be the first one to get a degree, the first one to write a book, the first one to own a home, the first one to be sober, the first one,
Mhm.
on so many different levels. And sometimes it makes you feel estranged and like alienated from your family. And so some people will
Yes.
slow down their healing progress because they don't want to be ostracized, they don't want to be criticized. And I
Right.
know that you work through some issues where you realize, no, I got to live my
Yes.
God intended life.
Yes.
I've got
Yes.
to deal with these dragons head on, these things that scared me, that intimidated me, that made me shrink, that made me feel small, that
Yes.
allowed me to feel like um, I wasn't good enough. And that takes a lot of courage. And that's what I saw you do, is that you showed a lot of courage. We worked through it. And I'm just so grateful because I learn from every, just like you do, I learn from every person's scenario.
Yes.
And I just
Yes.
thank God when He gives me the right tools, the right response to give to people, because no two situations are the same. But then again, there's a running theme that I'm finding with women: loneliness, depression,
Mhm.
not able to recover from grief or loss, a sense of defeat. And then with this social media climate,
Mm.
I find that, men compete, but women compare.
Mm.
And so now we got another
Mhm.
dragon to deal with, like this social media monster. I gotta look like this. I gotta get this many likes. I gotta
Yes.
look at my children, look at my car, look at my house, look at my sales, look at this, look at that. Am I traveling? Am I producing? And so all of that becomes a distraction from us really
Mhm.
living a grateful life, but also a life of grace, where we give grace to ourselves and we
Yes.
allow God's grace to shine upon us to say, my dear, my child, stop being so hard on yourself. I love you. I see you. I know what you've been through. I'm here for you. I'm safe. You are safe, but you've got to trust the process. And that's what
Yes.
you did. You trusted the process.
Yes. Yes. And I wanted to trust the process with you because number one, I'm a student just like you. We're all students and teachers of life.
Hmm.
And every good coach has to be coachable. There has to be another coach that can coach them. But I
Hmm.
wanted to be my best with you as as your client, so that I can glean from you, so that I
Mm,
can be the best for my clients. And
right.
that's how we heal one to another. We don't heal just by knowing all the information but not making it applicable. Every now and then you have to stop and be the student so that you can take in some more information so that we can pass it on. And so that's what I found with you. I've been able to heal and really heal more quickly than I expected to.
Wow.
Yes, I did. But it was because, Jewel, you offer a safe place also.
Mm,
Because I know you're not the only, coach that I know. There's plenty I could have went to, but you offer a safe place for
mm,
women to land,
mm.
and you have a unique way of working uniquely with each woman. Yes,
Wow.
we talk. We talk, your children, we all talk to each other. And we all know that you work individually with each of us. What you give me, you don't give to the next woman. And what you give to her, you don't give to me. You have a way of tapping into each
Mm,
woman's issue
mm,
individually,
mm.
and you have a blessing. You know how to be guided by God so that you can guide the women that you're coaching. And that's, excuse me, that's the one thing that I really enjoy about being a part of Women on the Grow, which is another extension of you.
Yes.
And being one of your coaching clients is that you know how to love each and every one of us. You know how to give us a safe place. And that's what you taught me. that women are looking for. We're looking for a safe place
Yes.
because many of us, when we were younger, because most of us, the reality of it is that a lot of women who are in this business, we've gotten this business because somewhere along the line, somebody missed the mark with us.
Somebody mishandled your heart.
Exactly.
And we know that as children, the voids that we get as children, when those voids are not filled, then we look for it as adults, and then we make the wrong choices. I call it a mistake. We take
Right.
the wrong things, and it's not doesn't make us a bad person. We just didn't get the four things that we need. We need to be seen, and women, adult women, need to be seen for their uniqueness,
Yes.
for their purpose, their gifts, their pain.
Yes.
Um, and so if you do just this copycat, just like Xeroxing, your technique of dealing with every person, you're not really seeing them. You're just operating from ego and operating from a lazy mindset. And so I thank you for being able to see that I do operate in the way that I treat everybody um, uniquely, and I see them. I take time to get to know their story without the shame. The other thing is that we need, as a child, we need to feel secure. If you feel like your business is going to be spread across the world, you're not going to feel secure. So for you
Yes.
to be able to share today and not be anonymous is huge for me, because I have a lot of Coach Debbies that I've worked with, but there's still a level of shame. I don't want anybody to know. Yes, you can share my testimony, but don't put my name. And I'm like, wow. So when you called me to say, Jewel, I want to share, and I don't mind telling my name, that was huge for me, because perhaps somebody will see the benefit of breaking these strongholds of shame and having this stigma
Yes.
over us that there's something wrong with us. And it's not that there's something wrong with you. It's not what it's what happened to you that caused you to feel small, or to feel not seen, or to feel not secure, or to not feel safe. A lot of women have not felt safe in the company of men, or they didn't feel safe on the job, or they didn't feel safe because of racism, or they didn't feel safe because of family friction. And so part of my agenda and calling with Women on the Grow is for women to feel seen, to feel secure, to feel safe. And the other thing
Mhm.
that we all need as children is to feel soothed, like somebody
Yes.
cares. Like, can I get a
Yes.
hug? Can you blow me a kiss? Can you tell me something wonderful? Can you hold me when I'm crying? Can you listen to me when I'm hurting? And so when we didn't get that as children, I didn't get those as a child. I,
Right.
I I was seen, but I didn't feel soothed, because I lived in a
Yes.
family where tactile hugging and all that, it just wasn't part of, of our household, which is not unique. That's a lot of people. Like
Right.
they
Right.
put a roof over your head. You had food, you had clothing, but there's something about not feeling soothed when you're hurting. And I had one specific scenario in my childhood when my grandmother lived with us, and a girl beat me up at school, and I came home crying and bleeding, and she was so indifferent, so indifferent. And I know now, when I look back at that scene, something in my spirit said, you better not let anybody see you cry. Nobody cares. Suck it up. What's the point? Get over it. So I
Mm.
learned for many years not to share when I'm hurting. We say things like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm blessed.
Right.
Somebody favorite,"
Yes.
because we know if we let somebody know we're hurting, we don't want that rejection again.
Right. Yes.
We don't want that rejection that we got from a divorce, or the relationship that didn't work out, or that job that let us down and didn't give us the promotion. So a lot of women don't shine, and a lot of women don't share, because that rejection is so imprinted in our subconscious that the brain's job is to protect us. So my brain said, "Oh, we're not doing that again. That hurt."
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, so women that get sexually violated, and people say, why didn't they tell anybody? Because maybe there was nobody there to sue them. Or I've had women come to me and say, Jewel, My mother said to me, "What did you do?" Or my mother said, "Get over it." Or my mother said, "You know how men are." And they just dismiss their pain.
Mhm.
And so women grow up not feeling soothed, or they look for the wrong people, places, and faces to soothe them. And then they get stuck
Yes.
in these situations that are so toxic, so below their worthiness as a child of God, that now they're, how do I mend that? How do I heal that? How do I change that narrative in my mind that says, well, this is as good as it's gonna get. Don't ask
Right.
for any more. This is the way it is. So we have to tear up these scripts, that we absorb, these scripts that controlled us and gave us direction, and said, wait a minute, I'm about to write my own script. And that's what you did, Debbie. You're like, wait a minute, there were some things that I saw and heard and felt, and I don't want that to define me. And you broke
Ex-
free.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I'm here, and I don't want to be anonymous because I want the women to know that, there are a lot of women that look up to me, and
Ah,
there are a lot of women who honor me, and I want
mm,
them to know that the compliments that they give me, a part of the richness that I am, comes from being coached, and comes from being coached by a good coach.
oh wow.
Dr. Jewel Diamond Taylor,
That's a
you
big
are,
that's a big hug. Thank you.
yes,
That's a big
yes,
hug. Thank
yes.
you
You
so much,
you
Debbie.
you have
And if
played.
anybody wanted to reach you, can you tell my audience a little bit about your coaching style? Because you said you noticed that we're different in our coaching approach or style.
Yes, well, I
What do you
start.
find unique about your coaching style? What do you
Well,
want
I
people to know?
started as a facilitator, and I didn't start as a coach, and I started facilitating groups. So my coaching style is more educational.
Uh-huh.
So I use a lot of books, a lot of workbooks in my coaching style. And I hold a lot of classes,
Yeah.
and because I'm more of a teacher. I'm a coach, but I have more of a teacher in me.
And tell them about your books, honey. The
So
titles and
my
where they can get
books, so I'm a part of three anthologies, and the first one is, oh boy, it's been so long now. But I'm but I'm a part of three anthologies. The main anthology is Let Go and Let God by Cheryl Pillow Williamson, and that one you can get that one on Amazon, and that's what my story is. I Shall Live,
them. Oh yes.
and
I
that's
love
the
your
that's
merchandise, your I Shall Live t-shirts. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
the main one that I push, and the reason why I push that, because there's more of an agenda behind that one. I am a suicide attempt survivor, and so I Shall Live. In the book, I talk about those experiences and how I
Mm-hmm.
did survive, and
Mm-hmm.
so, as anybody would know will work with me, I am very transparent.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am very transparent. I am vulnerable. There was a time when I was ashamed, but a part of working with you has lifted the shame too.
Amen.
A
Amen.
part
I
of
love
working with
that.
you and dealing with the more personal issues that I had to deal with has helped me lift the shame and let me know that there are things that has happened in my life that's not my fault.
And it's
And
not your
so
it's not your identity.
that's right.
It's
And
like
that
you don't it's like I grew up in Compton. I lived in Carson. I lived in Cerritos. I lived in Chino Hills. I don't live in any of those places anymore. I don't live there. And in
right.
each one of those addresses, I was a different person, I had a different awareness, a different life, different
Yes.
needs, different
Yes.
priorities. And so when you realize though, okay, I used to be young and silly or reckless or stupid or naive, or I used to be this job, or I used to have this title. I think we just have to realize that we go through different seasons, and as long as we, what I'm visualizing in my mind, because I'm very visual. It's like
Yes.
sometimes you have these boots stuck in the mud, and the mud gets so hard you can't get the shoes out. So what you do is
Yes.
you take your feet out the shoes and then you move forward.
Right.
It's like you don't have to stay there stuck. Well, but my shoes are stuck. Well, the shoes are stuck, but you get out of the shoes and walk another path, walk in another direction. We have choices, we have willpower, we have support all around us, but you have to reach out and ask for it as you did.
Yes.
And I hope that those that are listening will connect with you and learn about the books that you're in, learn about your merchandise. I shall live.
I shall
And,
live. So
and
on Facebook it's just Coach Debbie Chandler, and
okay,
on Instagram it's just Coach Debbie Chandler. Real simple.
okay.
So that's where they
So
can find me.
wonderful. So, in your darkest moment, whether it was the attempt to suicide or whether it was divorce or whatever comes to your mind right now, after going through the dark night of the soul, what is a valuable lesson? What is the gold that you sifted out of the
The
mud?
valuable lesson that I have and that I hold with me is that I'm not alone. I used to think that I was so alone and so unique in my situation.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I share openly the way I do, because I want women to know that you're not alone.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
situation, we're unique as individuals, but the situations that we come up against, we are not unique, and we are not alone. And we'll be surprised if you just open up and just tell someone. And
Yes.
again, you don't want to use social media as your therapy, because that's not what it is. And you don't want to tell just any
Hmm.
person your business, but find a coach, find a therapist, open up and be honest, and you'll find that you are not alone. And that's the diamond that I take away with me now, that I'm not alone. And so if anything comes up for me, I don't feel ashamed to get on the
Good.
phone and call you. Although our weekly sessions are over, I know that I can always call you and say, Jewel, this is coming up for me.
Yes.
What's going on? Can you help me go through this? And so that's the biggest thing I've learned, is that I'm not alone, and
And
none
I,
of us
I want,
are.
I'm wondering too if you can resonate with this thought because I've heard it so many times. It's not that you wanted to end your life, you wanted to end the pain.
The pain. And that's what it is. Because,
Yeah.
and someone said to me, um, he said, Deb, I don't want to think that you're crazy, but only crazy people want to kill themselves. And I said, no, that is not true. And that's how I know that I'm healed, because
Yes.
all I could do was laugh when he
Because
said
you could
that.
laugh.
And
Yes.
yes, I can laugh
Yes.
at it. And no, that's not that you want to end your life. It's so much pain, and there's so much loneliness, and there's so much darkness,
Yes.
that for some people, when they're in that place, they think the only way they can end it is by ending their life. And it's also a learned behavior. I learned that from seeing other people, and I won't mention their names because I don't want to break their anonymity, but there were
Hmm.
people before me who I saw take that route, and I thought
Okay.
that was the route to go.
I got you. And what I have found, and I talk about this a lot, is that in our Western culture, we don't like to talk, we focus more on success, the
Yes.
celebrities, the beautiful people, the wealthy people, the shining people. So if we never talk about the flip side of life, which is death and struggle and setbacks and heartache and loss, that's part of life, I think that people would be able to navigate it better. But
Yes.
we live in a world that's so out of balance that we don't want to talk about it. So when a
Yes.
person has pain, whether it's pain delivering a baby, or whether it's pain of losing a child like I did, or whether it's the pain of a divorce, or the pain of losing your house or your breast from breast cancer, when you don't understand that that is part of life and that we can learn, we can get through it with our faith, with our community, that we can get through it by reaching out and being a part of a spiritual community that will help us, and we're not ashamed to talk about it. then we don't feel like we failed ourselves or failed God
Yes.
or there's something wrong with us. Pain and loss are part of life.
Of life.
And
Yes.
so when you say, well, I can't take it. I just want to get out of this world. I want to leave. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just don't want to be here anymore. It's because you don't have the mindset to know that the emotions that are so raw of hurt, the kind of hurt that takes your breath away,
Yes.
to know that you can get through it, that this too shall pass if you have the right
Yes.
support. But how are you going to get the support if you are silently suffering?
Yes.
How are you going to get the support if you feel ashamed? How are you going to get the support if you don't reach beyond your small circle? Because maybe your family or your friends are not equipped to help you get through it. So you have to go outside of your circle, which means
Yes.
sometimes people will alienate you, like, oh, you think, oh, what's wrong with you, or you think you better than this, or you think. And so we have to get our self-esteem, our sense of worth, and our sense of belonging to God. And God is within us and around us and in front of us and behind us and beside us. But most of all, God is
Yes.
within us. But we have to know how to tap into that and say, wait
Yes.
a minute, I am still here and I must learn how to navigate this thing called pain and loss and understand on the other side of that is transformation, restoration. I can rewire my brain. I can renew my spirit. I can reignite my dream, my vision, my passion. So, as you said, Debbie, your intention was to get better for your clients, which means you want to get better for your purpose.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know
Yes.
what they want to do with their lives, so they feel like it's meaningless. But you had meaning, and you wanted to hold on to that. You didn't want to lose that direction. You didn't want to lose that north star that was leading you. It's like, where is the star? I can't see it. I'm
Yes.
lost. A lot of us get
Yes.
lost. A lot of us get
Yes.
distracted. But we can
Yes.
have people like coaches like us to say, "Come on back over here. I see you.
Yes.
I'm gonna soothe you.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Steer
make you
us
feel
back
safe."
over.
And
Yes.
yeah. So there's nothing wrong with us when we have our setbacks. There's nothing wrong with us. We just have to know
Yes.
how to have that healthy self-talk and be consistent and on a regular basis checking in as you do. I love that about you, that even though you've had some major breakthroughs and milestones, you still check in. And I love it because it lets me know that you are still growing, you are still maturing, and you're honoring me, and you're honoring yourself, and you're honoring God. Like, I'm giving my report. This is where I am now. And you can look back and
Yes.
say, oh my God, look how far I've come.
Yes, yes. That's important to me. That is very, very important to me. The maintenance,
Yes, that's the
right?
word. Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
the maintenance. I love
Yes.
to have my maintenance phone calls with you. Sometimes they're 5 minutes, sometimes they're 30 minutes, but I still like to have my maintenance phone calls with you because it lets me know that I'm still on track. And
Yes.
when I'm still on track, then I can give the person behind me or beside me the right information. Because my job as a coach is to help women and help them with the right information. It's not about me, it's
Mm-hmm.
not about my ego, and it's not about how smart I am and how big I am. It's about whatever need someone has. And God gives me the tools to be able to help them and assist them. But if I
Mm-hmm.
don't check in with you so that you can say to me, oh, Debbie, you sound good. You sound like you're on point. Or, well, you sound like you're a little off, sweetie. Do you think we need a session? I
Yes.
need that from you.
Yes.
We all
Yes.
need that.
We
And that's
all
how
need it.
we keep the train well oiled, right? We keep it well oiled so
Right.
we can continue to contribute good and positive things and stay in the light. And as long as we stay in the light,
Stay in the
we can
light.
bring everybody else into the light with us, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. You got me with that because that's my mantra. Stay
That's
in the
right.
light.
That's the thing. Stay in the light. That's
Yeah,
right.
Debbie. So this is so cool, and thank you for bringing to my remembrance that very key word to end this with is the maintenance is important.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those of you that are saying, "Oh, I'm good," things can happen so quickly that you could slip back,
So
sit
quickly.
back, and backslide. It's like, no, it's okay. It's a healthy
And
thing.
that's when we
It's an act
want
of self
to,
care.
that's right. That's when we want to fuel up and keep our tank full.
Hmm.
When we're, I'm good, but you're steady driving, you're still driving, but you need to go and have your tank filled up, because you never know when something will happen, and it's best for something to happen on a full tank than an empty tank.
Go ahead and teach, girl. Go ahead and teach.
Right.
All right, Coach Debbie, this is so rich and so lovely, so affirming, so encouraging.
Oh,
You just
thank you, Jill.
reminded me what I was born to do. And,
Yes.
it's hard sometimes for me to receive because I love to give. And so to receive your love, to receive your takeaways and your feedback and your progress report just fills my heart and soul. Woo, I'm feeling so good and so
Oh,
encouraged. And I
so
hope
do
that
I.
whoever's
So
watching and
do I.
listening will feel encouraged to connect with you or me or whoever's in their life that will be a blessing to them so they don't have to feel stuck and they don't have to
Yes.
feel unworthy. Amen. All right.
Amen.
Thank you
All
so much,
right.
honey. God bless you and stay
God
in the
bless
light.
you. And let's stay in the light.